Sometimes big changes in our country can feel confusing and even unsettling, like when soldiers show up on our city streets. This isn't a movie or a fictional scenario. It's a real plan being discussed right now, sending the National Guard into certain American cities to address ongoing issues. These are everyday people, teachers, mechanics, nurses, who serve as a reserve force called up in times of need, ready to step in when situations demand. The goal? To tackle problems like crime in cities that are struggling the most, aiming to bring peace and stability. Former President Donald Trump is pushing this idea, believing a military presence will restore order and safety, a vision he strongly advocates. This isn't just about more police, it's about soldiers in uniform, military vehicles, and a new kind of daily reality for some communities, altering the landscape. The National Guard has helped during disasters and protests before, but using them for everyday crime is a big shift, a significant change in their role. It changes their role from emergency responders to daily law enforcement, a move that's sparking intense debate and discussion across the nation. Who should keep us safe, local police or the federal government and its military? This question is at the heart of the debate. The plan is moving from idea to reality in some places, meaning families may soon see soldiers as part of their daily lives, a new normal for many. Some people feel relieved, hoping for an end to violence. Others are worried about what it means to have soldiers policing their neighborhoods, fearing potential consequences. This plan touches the heart of our cities and the lives of everyone who calls them home, impacting communities in profound ways. Understanding it matters because it could change what safety looks like in America, redefining our sense of security and community. Why are certain cities being chosen for such intense scrutiny and intervention? The answer is that each of these cities faces tough, unique challenges that set them apart from others across the country. In Los Angeles, homelessness has reached crisis levels. Thousands of people are forced to live on the streets, creating not only public health concerns but also a sense of insecurity for residents and business owners alike. In Chicago, gun violence dominates headlines almost daily, leaving families afraid to let their children play outside and entire communities feeling trapped by fear and uncertainty. Despite the introduction of new policing strategies and community programs, crime rates remain stubbornly high, fueling calls for drastic solutions, including the deployment of the National Guard. Meanwhile, Portland has seen waves of intense protests and frequent clashes with law enforcement, while Washington, D.C. faces its own struggles with rising crime and ongoing political unrest. Each city, Los Angeles, Chicago, Portland, and D.C., shows a different face of urban crisis, from homelessness and violence to deep political divisions and social unrest. The federal government views these persistent problems as evidence of failed local leadership, arguing that a stronger, more direct approach is urgently needed to restore order and safety. Federal officials claim that mayors and city councils aren't doing enough to address these crises, so they believe it's time for federal intervention to take the lead. By targeting these specific cities, the administration is sending a clear message. When a city loses control, the federal government will not hesitate to step in and take action. It's a controversial move, sparking heated debate and strong reactions, but it's one that's gaining momentum as urban problems continue to persist and escalate. Ultimately, the debate is about more than just crime or unrest. It's about who truly gets to decide how America's cities are governed and what the future of urban leadership should look like. Former President Trump's message is clear: send in the National Guard to restore law and order. He points to cities like Chicago and Memphis, where crime is high and local police seem overwhelmed. Trump believes a show of force is the fastest way to make streets safe again. He often cites Washington, D.C. as a success story, claiming the Guard's presence brought immediate safety. For Trump, if a city is struggling, troops are the answer, a model he wants to repeat elsewhere. The cities he's targeting are mostly led by Democrats, making this not just a safety issue but a political statement. He criticizes these leaders as being soft on crime, using the Guard to show a different, more forceful style of leadership. Trump's goal: Project Strength, take decisive action and win support from voters who want order restored. For him, soldiers on the streets are a solution in progress, not a sign of failure. It's a bold approach that's dividing the country and shaping the debate over how to keep cities safe. Not everyone agrees on sending soldiers into cities, and the split is clear in places like Memphis. Tennessee's Republican Governor Bill Lee supports the plan, seeing the Guard as a needed tool against crime. But Memphis's Democratic Mayor Paul Young disagrees. He didn't ask for the Guard and questions if soldiers are the right answer. Mayor Young wants more funding for police and community programs, not a military presence. This clash between state and city leaders reflects a bigger national divide: forceful federal action versus local, community-based solutions. Republicans often favor tough, direct intervention. Democrats push for local control and addressing root causes. The result? Confusion over who's in charge, tension between leaders, and uncertainty for residents. Local police must work with the Guard while people wonder who's really responsible for their safety. This conflict highlights deep political divides and how they play out on city streets. The debate isn't just about crime, it's about the future of American cities. When soldiers arrive, daily life changes for everyone. The familiar rhythms of the city are suddenly interrupted and a sense of uncertainty settles in. Imagine walking your child to school past military vehicles or shopping with soldiers on the corner. Everyday routines become reminders that something is deeply different. For some, this brings relief, a sense that someone is finally taking action to protect them. The presence of the Guard can feel like a shield against chaos or danger. For others, it's frightening. Soldiers can make neighborhoods feel like war zones, not homes. The sight of uniforms and armored vehicles can be a daily source of anxiety. Many worry about civil rights. Will there be more stops, curfews, or mistrust, especially in communities already wary of law enforcement? The fear of being unfairly targeted grows. The presence of the Guard can damage relationships between residents and authorities for years. Trust, once broken, is hard to rebuild. Local businesses may suffer as people stay home, and the city's reputation can take a hit, making it harder to attract new investment. Economic recovery can be slow and uncertain. While the goal is safety, the process can hurt the very people it's meant to help. Families may feel trapped inside, and children lose safe spaces to play. Beyond fear or relief, there's a deeper impact. Seeing the military police citizens is unsettling in a democracy. It raises questions about freedom and the role of government. It can make people feel their city and country has failed them. The sense of belonging and pride in one's home can be shaken. The long-term effects on a city's spirit are hard to measure, but they're real. Communities may struggle to heal and move forward. It forces everyone to ask, what kind of community do we want to live in? How do we balance safety with freedom and trust? The trade-offs are tough, and the answers aren't simple. Every decision leaves a mark on the city's future. This is about more than safety. It's about identity and trust. The choices made now will shape the city for generations to come. Who should police a city, local leaders or the federal government? It's a classic American debate. The Constitution splits power between cities, states, and Washington, D.C. When the federal government sends in the Guard against a mayor's wishes, it's a direct challenge to local control. City leaders argue they know their communities best. Federal officials say they must step in when cities are in crisis. If a governor supports the plan, it creates a powerful alliance against city leadership. This isn't just politics, it shapes the future of policing in America. If federal intervention becomes routine, local power could shrink for good. The debate forces us to ask, who should decide how our communities are kept safe? Using the military inside the U.S. raises big legal questions. The Posse Comitatus Act, passed in 1878, generally forbids the Army and Air Force from acting as police. The goal: keep a clear line between military and civilian law enforcement. The National Guard is different. It can be called by governors for emergencies or federalized by the president. This creates a legal gray area, especially if the Guard is used for everyday policing. Courts have already weighed in, sometimes blocking deployments, but there's no clear national rule. Legal experts are now debating if these deployments violate the spirit of the law. The outcome will help define the limits of presidential power. This isn't just a legal puzzle, it affects everyone's rights. Soldiers are trained for combat, not community policing, and that difference matters. Using them for law enforcement could lead to more aggressive tactics and fewer protections for citizens. The legal battles are really about the core principles of justice and freedom in America. Sending the National Guard to Memphis fits a larger pattern of bold, controversial actions from the Trump administration. This administration often pushes legal boundaries and sparks heated debate on immigration, public health, and more. For example, it sped up deportations, challenged court orders, and attached new rules to federal aid, leading to lawsuits. The same aggressive approach appears in foreign policy and technology decisions. Each move reflects a desire to shake up the status quo, using executive power to achieve goals, even if it means going to court. The Guard deployment is another example: direct, assertive, and divisive. Understanding this context explains why the administration pursues such controversial policies. We've explored the plan, the reasons, and the deep disagreements it's caused. At its core, this is about one question: what does safety really mean? Is it the absence of crime achieved by force, or is it strong communities built on trust and opportunity? Some see soldiers as protection, others see them as a sign of failure. The choice is personal and political: federal power and military strength, or local control and community investment. Think about your own city. What does safety look like to you? And how do we get there together?